Hello and welcome to episode 83 of the Alfa Romeo Driver Podcast, brought to you by the Alfa Romeo Owners Club. I'm Guy Swarbrick, and this week I'll be previewing National Alfa Day with Club Chairman John Griffiths, Club Manager Nick Wright, and Allie Taylor from Alfa Female. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Guy.
Good afternoon, Guy.
The purpose of the podcast today is to do a bit of a preview of National Alfa Day. And I was doing the archive article for the August issue of the magazine. And there's a bit in there, I think from, must be 20 years ago, when we were...
Very young?
We were very young. We were at Gaydon for National Alfa Day, and it was the first one that wasn't at Stamford Hall after a run of, I think, 19 years. So we're not quite there with Bicester.
Not quite.
This will be the fourth Bicester National Alfa Day in a row. So how are we going to make it different?
Well, I remember the 2003 event extremely well, and the concern of the volume of cars coming in. Gaydon today is not what it was back 20 years ago. There's far less parking space, but we were really worried about the volume coming in there, and then cars were parking everywhere. But we got them all in, and it was a super day. The beauty with a known venue like Bicester is we can plan it far better, and that's I think the focus of what we're doing this time is to take what was a terrific event last year with 2,000 people and 1,250 Alfas, I think, getting on for that, and just turn it up a notch again, learning from a few of the challenges we had, and just amping up some of the best bits too.
You have to remind me what some of the best bits were, because I was tucked up with COVID watching the Commonwealth Games road race, so I didn't actually make it.
Go on, Allie. What was your favourite bit? I know you enjoyed the day.
I really liked the land train.
Yeah.
I loved going around all the cars and just seeing them all without having to walk.
Yeah, because it's a heck of a big place.
It is, yeah.
400 acres, I think, something like that, or 440 or something. I read.
Yeah,
it's huge, isn't it? But that was Dave Faithful, who's on holiday in Italy at the moment. It was his grand idea last time, and it really worked, didn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I think we should just give it its correct title of the Chris Knott Insurance Land Train.
Correct,
kindly sponsoring it again this year. So.
Very kindly, I must say, yeah. And that's key, actually, is the sponsorship, because it's not a cheap place to hire, even though you're getting, we hope to get a really good volume of people along. And getting those bits of sponsorship, especially with our partner CKI doing that, is really, really helpful. But yeah, that's certainly added something. This year, we're going to keep... Right, there's a challenge with reusing events, having done it a lot of times, is people that have been before expect it to be the same. So they may be heading to the same place to park. So we're keeping the basic layout the same as last year, with modern Alfas and modern classics out on the airfield side, and the classics around the engineering zone and the buildings there. But we're gonna put more of put it slightly older cars in with those kind of 90s, 60s and 70s cars this year. So your 155, 75s, 145s, that type of era up to the mid-90s will go around the buildings, because it's a really pretty zone, and we want those owners to enjoy it around there as well. And that it just keeps it simpler on the outfield too.
And we've got a new model, of course, to park since last year, so we need to make some space for the hordes of Tonales that will be turning up.
Was it 9? I think we had it Spring Alfa Day, so they're going to... You've got one now, Guy. There's at least 10. So Nick, and of course, last year Nick had a tremendous time in the organisation zone, in the show zone, particularly with a few challenges for the parade track organisation. That was great, wasn't it, Nick?
Challenge is one word you could use for it, yes.
Organisation's one word you could use for it, my head as well.
No. We've learned from what we did last year, but that being the first time we sort of moved away from just having a static event.
Yeah.
And it's all pre-booked this year, the laps. So there might still be some space by the time this goes out if you want to pre-book a display lap.
Yeah.
You can go back on and order a free one. So it's all free for members. And you do need to be a member to take part in it. But...
You do. And I think the sales of those places are going well, aren't they? But
they are going very well, yeah.
We split it up differently to last time too, although it was tremendous seeing 62 Alfa subs going round. I think we had to turn it into 2 groups in the end, but we can still get a good volume of cars around. But there's different categories this time by certain area groups that you can see on the ticket. I'm not going to read them all out now, but I think that will help no end. And we're not going to drag all those cars through the show zone either. We're going to be using an in and out method at the kind of runway end, as it were. So it'll make life a lot easier. So there's still planning going on in that space. We've got some more site visits to do and so on, but we think we can make that work a lot better. And again, keeping this more of the older cars that are going to want to get on track in the classic Alfa zone will just make life a lot simpler for everybody. And that should work really well. So it's more modern Alfas in the morning, including the special stuff like the modified cars and the Ragazzi crew for the youngsters. They'll be out in the morning. And then we're going to have the kind of big focus this year on models. Won't be Alfa Sub this time, but we've got the 100th anniversary of Quadrifoglio. So, and again, we want to kind of show that the club's open to everybody, not just classic Alfa Romeo. So we're going to have the Quadrifoglio, Stelvio and Giulia's out as a group and parking in that show zone area too this year. So along with lots of special cars as well, we'll see the 8Cs and historic cars, and we hope a good bundle of racing cars along too this year. And we do know, don't we, Nick, that there's some fascinating stuff already promised.
Indeed. Yeah.
I won't ask you to list them all. Obviously, that's giving the game away.
Yeah, you need some element of surprise when you're there, don't you? So what you're going to bump into. So
certainly do.
Yeah.
So those two things, the land train and the track activity, were both new for the third time at the venue. There were a couple of other new things like the jazz band. So what else are we going to see that we've seen before, and then we'll move on to some of the newer stuff.
Well, the Passion Italia band, I think John mentioned earlier, has a new vocalist this year. So as well as the Italian music, they'll be playing hits from the 80s and 90s. So good chance to break out your Frankie Goes to Bicester t-shirts.
Yeah, oh dear. He's been saving that one up. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was to write that.
Yeah. But definitely the live music was a good added little extra last year, and we're going to carry on with that. So, and
the deck chairs, they were brilliant.
Yeah, it was like a proper beach, wasn't it? Because we've been basking in 40-degree heat nearly, haven't we? That July, rather than the rather damp one we've got at the minute. But yeah, and we're going to have a good focus on kids again this year. Really important that, and the free go-karts are going to be back for Alfisti aged 4 to 10. So, and they can go on those as often as they like. Absolutely brilliant. They are superb fun. We had a few toddlers who missed out last year. So this year we've got some kind of push along pedal on cars as well, but ride on toys, I think is explained. So they're going to be there for absolutely dozens of them apparently. So it's going to be great for the little ones. And free face painting as well. So this year I'm going for a cross and serpent again, although it's mainly aimed at children, I think. But we're getting in there.
All kids will get their free gift when they arrive as well.
Again. Yeah. Special secret one. Yeah. So there's plenty for them. And then for the slightly bigger kids, we've got the virtual sim racing back after a sabbatical. So the sim racing contest will be back. I know that's close to your heart, Guy. So
it is just starting working with the organisers to figure out what we're going to do in terms of the format for the day for that. But I think we will have an exclusive of a new Assetto Corsa Alfa Romeo sim car that nobody will have seen before the event. So that'll be quite good fun.
Brilliant stuff. And alongside that, or kind of near it, we're going to have our pals from Pirelli along again too, with this F1 simulator that I gather is based around a genuine F1 car, or show car as it were. So that should be an awful lot of fun as well, I think. It's got a built-in sound system, triple screen and all that business. So people can immerse themselves in that too. No doubt there'll be a competition going on there as well, Nick, I would imagine.
They will indeed. Talking of Pirelli and competitions, they've very kindly this year donated a set of new tyres worth up to £1,500 for one AROC member. We're going to have a raffle after the concourse prizes.
Yeah.
So do you need to leave some room in your boot?
You do. Every AROC member there will be included in the raffle, and you can virtually take them home. You'll get a voucher. So yeah,
I've got visions of that Father Ted episode when he pulled out number 11. Do you remember that one? The organizer wins it. So I definitely need a set of tyres. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
That's very generous of them. The chairman running off to the gate.
Yeah, very generous of them. That anyway, up to £1,500 worth, isn't it? So really good.
So it's half a set of Giulia tyres then. Giulia Quadrifoglio tyres.
Yeah, exactly. Don't remind me. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Now I understand the references to
You got
to
it.
the chairman winning the prize. Yes.
Yeah, I've got about 1.5 millimeters left, if that. So him eking it out till August the 20th.
One of the other things that happened at National Alpha Day last year was the launch of Alpha Female, and I think there's some things planned in the Alpha Female area for this year, Allie.
There is. I'm going to be bringing along a Tonali Bambini, which I'm very excited about. I'm even going to borrow a child beforehand, not my child, but a baby, so that I can really test it out and see what it can do. So I'm bringing that along.
Real.
We're also going to have, Alpha Female stand's not going to be there, but I'm going to be there handing out leaflets and teddies for the children as well, which is always nice. And then what we like people to do is to put the teddies in the windscreen of the cars. So when people are walking round, we can spot them.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
I've got my name down for one already, yeah?
I'll bring one along for you.
Brilliant.
My family are borrowing the Bambini edition this week.
Oh,
so
wow.
that arrived here yesterday. That's with my son and his 19-month-old daughter for the next couple of days, and then my daughter and her 19-month-old daughter, because they're 2 days apart. She's going to have it for the rest of the week. So there'll be a little feature. So people who are coming along to National Alpha Day will know what to look out for when they see it. It's very impressive, very nicely done.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
that'll be thoroughly tested then, Guy.
It will.
Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit worrying that it says in the documentation that the changing mat's only rated to 1-year-old or 13 kilos.
Right.
So 13 kilos is quite a big 1-year-old, I think. But given that my two granddaughters are 19 months, we'll try not to have bent it by the time.
Yeah. We'll get some wooden props under it. That wouldn't look quite so good on display, though, would it? I like it.
So we launched Alpha Female last year, and it's the official launch of the Ragazzi section at this year's National Alpha Day. It's kind of what they've been building up to. So they have some plans. They'll have an area, I think, from what I remember of the layout, we're going to have female Ragazzi and modified relatively close together.
Yeah.
So they've got some plans for what they're going to do during the day, but it all looked very youthful to me, so I didn't take too much notice of it. But if you're under 30, make your way to the Ragazzi area, and there'll be lots going on. And
if you're female, head over as well and see Alpha Female.
And if you're a female under 30 with a modified car, you can spend the whole day without moving out of that small area.
Yeah, you'll be in one circular zone. Yeah. Talking of that zone, of course, we're going to continue with some proper club history with the Concours d'Elegance or Concorso d'Eleganza, whichever mood you're in. So we've got the entries are open for that now. The entry form for that you can get via the website, or it was also in the last edition of the e-newsletter, Notiziario. But we're looking forward to some good entries for that. I do encourage... this summer, there's been a lot of fun concourse contests going on around the sections. We had a super one in my section, East Midlands, with 40 cars that turned up, and more than half of those could easily take part in the national show and shine, and probably a good 6 or 8 of those cars present were worthy of entering the concourse. So for anyone listening, if you've got a half shiny Alpha, bring it along, come and enter. They're really good fun on the day, and people love seeing them. Great fun to be part of. It's not stressful, not that stressful anyway. You can get your quick detailer out to your heart's content, and you've got some very friendly judges. And they'll also, if it's your pride and joy, they'll help you by pointing out the bits that you might want to concentrate on next to get even more marks. So, and last year we had, it's more than one past winner has been invited to the club's rather prestigious NEC Classic Mode Show stand as well for display. That's new and old. So there's categories that covers absolutely everything. Obviously, the newer cars will go into the show and shine, and we tend not to do so much concoursing on the newer gear. But well worth entering, I must say.
It's hard to have messed up a new car too much, isn't it?
No, that's it. But again, there is I think it's 3 years is the youngest, is it, Nick? I can't remember now. But you can certainly get those nice and dirty as well, from my experience. So, so to get them absolutely spotless. And again, the guys that help organise those contests come up with some very clever marking plans too, to judge originality versus preparation, as it were. So they're really good fun. I've done it in the past myself, and I've been involved in marking for years. Don't do it so much these days, but it's a really good bit of extra fun.
One new thing that we're going to have, which anybody who was at Spring Alpha Day has seen an example of already, is we are going to have the drone up. So we'll be getting some aerial photos and some aerial video shots. One of the areas that we're authorised to fly, which quite surprised me, but I was quite pleased, is we are authorised to fly over the test track.
Oh, great!
So we'll get some footage of the cars out on the test track. We won't film everybody who's going around the test track.
No.
partly because we've got time restrictions on that area, and partly because I don't want to spend all day next to the test track flying, and I haven't got enough batteries.
No.
But yeah, so we're allowed to fly all the way around the display areas on that side of the hangar, and down the main street in the technical area. So we'll get some footage of the older cars as well. So again, we'll do some stills, and we'll put together a video for the immediate aftermath of the event.
Yeah, something else we learned from last year is there was a bit of requests for a for sale area as well. So we've certainly got that this year. So if people are looking for an Alfa or one to sell, then you can certainly organise to get into that zone too. We're going to be trying to use a lot more signage this year to keep it simple too. And when you come in the gates, you'll be handed a layout map, so you can try and help our marshals to guide you to the right place. So I've already mentioned that it's going to be roughly the same layout as last year, which should help too. And of course, we've got the usual. There's going to be even more food and drink outlets this year. Our friends at the Wrigley Monkey Craft Brewery will be open, and conveniently, the CKI land train is going to stop right outside. So you can have as a passenger, you can have quite an exciting Sunday, really.
Is the gin distillery going to be open?
We hope so, yes. That's something we're going to visit on the next site visit. So hopefully those guys I think it's Blue Skies Gin, hopefully that'll be open. So
you probably want to stop at the brewery before you stop at the distillery rather than the other way around.
Yeah, probably.
If you're going to walk to the other one.
Yeah, staggering range.
Passengers only.
Passengers only, absolutely.
The other big thing in the show zone, of course, is Alfa Romeo's hospitality unit will be there. Great force. And I believe they have some Tonali there that can book for a test drive. I'll take you out on the public roads again like they did last time.
And we'll have the plug-in hybrid edition this year, not just the mild hybrid version for people to have a go with. So definitely worth.
I think last year we had every Tonali in the country there, didn't we? So I don't think that's going to happen this year.
All 4 of them. Yeah. Should be a few more this time. So that's good. There'll be some other good stuff as well. So the local dealer as well, of course.
Unity
will be there. So I mean, at the end of the day, there's absolutely loads. We're going to have the club shop, of course. Danielle, our marvellous club shop operator, is going to be there with a squad of people to help, and a fully stocked shelves and racks of all sorts of gear. So that's probably not the best phrase, Guy. All sorts of things to wear and
merchandise is the word.
Merchandise.
Yeah.
And of course a dedicated Alpha female range, Allie.
Yes, we've got lots of things on that. We've got hoodies, tote bags, notebook. There's a dress as well, which is really nice.
Which is kind of like a very long polo shirt, isn't it, the dress?
It is, yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it might even be long enough for me, actually.
I don't know. Don't give them ideas.
I'll tuck it in, obviously.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, so I mean, there's absolutely loads really. I think adding the movement was the big thing last year, so we're just going to make sure that's even better. We do have, as I said, we have got some special cars promised already, including a number of racing machines. So I think it'll be great fun to, circulate around all the parked vehicles and, spend some time next to the track watching that. A good old mix of things Alpha, with music in the background, great stuff to look at, eat. you can take part in too. So really, really a whole host of stuff.
I have challenged Alan Greenhalgh to arrange more GTAs and GTAMs than the paltry number that he managed for Spring Alphabet. So
4 wasn't too bad, was it?
No, 4 was quite good, but I think 6 or 7 is achievable.
Yeah, that'd be really, really good. We love them. And again, this year we've got a few other anniversaries going on as well. So the Alfa 33 is 40 years old this year, so we're hoping that there'll be a good number of those part together. Last year it was the 155. Various registers will be present, of course, with their grouped models.
I'm just trying to think which other anniversary we've got. It's the Mito 15th.
Mito 15th. We've got. I can't forget that. David will be shouting down his speaker at the moment if we didn't mention that. It's the 10th of the 4C.
I think it's the 15th of the Brera S.
Oh yeah, of course. There's another one.
You can guess there's two articles in the August issue that will be landing shortly after this podcast, one on the Brera anniversary and one on the Mito anniversary. Yeah. And a 4C one to follow later in the year. But
yeah, but it just adds a bit of fun, doesn't it, when those groups of cars go out onto the circuit for the parades. There's some stuff in the Tiziaria about safety with us having fire and ambulance crews present, but obviously we're always prepared at events, but it's great in 2023 compared with 2003, how we think about this stuff now. Yeah. I still remember, would it have been my first one, 1985 or 86, National Alfa Day down the road from me at Stamford Hall, where we had the gymkhanas with cars bouncing around fields just behind a bit of tape, with the passenger doing the steering and the driver holding a cup of water out of the window, controlling the car only with his feet. So that was, perfectly safe. That was.
It's funny because when I'm doing the archive, in the earlier issues of the magazine, every report on National Alfa Day, the gymkhana's a huge part of the day.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it disappears and gymkhana never gets mentioned again. And when I was preparing the archive column for this issue, I came across, and it wasn't the Stamford Hall one, so it must have been 10 years. Sorry, it wasn't the Gaydon one. It must have been 93, 10 years before that. I came across this little note saying, for the first time this year, there won't be a gymkhana due to a change of regulations at the RAC MSA. We'll be running an auto test on grass.
Yeah, that's right.
Which sounded remarkably like a gymkhana to me.
Yeah. I remember the guys bending the rules well, to be honest. In fact, it looked remarkably like a gymkhana as well. But yeah, happy days.
But then it doesn't appear the following year, so I think that was probably
things were kicking in. Mid-90s.
You can't get the safety string anymore, can you?
No. And it was literally a piece of string.
Yeah. I was at Goodwood a couple of weeks ago, and one of the Hyundai concept cars managed to go through 3.5 rows of straw bales.
Oh, brilliant. That's travelling.
So you can see why string is probably not considered adequate safety precautions anymore.
Yeah. Joking apart, we will have a small barrier, but of course it's great to get a car on track, but it is designed as a parade. We've got to be sensible with the speeds, although cars are full of safety systems these days compared to the 1980s when gymkhanas were rife, but we've got to be careful. So, and we do want to make sure people stay behind the barrier. That wasn't always happening last year. So, rather important.
Yeah, absolutely. We've kind of looked back at some of the changes over the years in terms of safety around things like gymkhanas and kind of the changing nature of the event. But I guess one of the other big changes is that it's even less a bunch of middle-aged men wandering around a field looking at shiny cars. It's become much more of a family-oriented event than it has been, even over the last couple of years.
Yes.
Now we mentioned the super kids things, but Allie, I mean, you were saying earlier, it's very much a thing for the whole family to enjoy, isn't it?
It is, yes. It's a day out for the family. Also, Bicester is such an amazing place, and my children love it. My son in particular, how old is he now? He's 13.
Yeah.
And as well as the cars, which he loves the cars, obviously the Alfas, but he likes spotting the other cars dotted around as well, belonging to employees.
Yeah.
But he really likes, there's a bunker.
Yeah.
In the old heritage bit, and he really likes going down into the bunker. Yeah. And when we come out, quite often there are other people waiting to go in that bunker.
Oh, right. Yeah. I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what the bunker's for. It's obviously very old. But yeah, but there's lots of things to do there. And
Great.
Bring picnics as well. I know there's going to be food. We always bring a picnic blanket. We quite often have our picnic in the Mito section with the other Mito owners, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Meeting people that we haven't met before and meeting people that we have met before.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have picnics, with everybody else.
Yeah, I think absolutely right. I know last year we had a few complaints that because it was so hot, all the most of the vending places had sold out of water and canned drink. So it's really important for people to think ahead. If it's going to be a hot day, bring stuff with you. There's no problem with that. I chucked in a load of bottled water in my boot and was so pleased I had. By 5-6 o'clock when we were wrapping up, I was still parched.
Well, hopefully on the 20th of August, that is going to be the challenge.
Yeah, let's see.
Assuming that's not the challenge and it pours down with rain all day, what's the contingency there?
We do have a contingency in that we can operate out of one of the gigantic hangars that would about cover one of the main show zones anyway. So that's the fallback, that we'll have hopefully we don't have to do it, but there's potential for us using one of those giant hangars next to the show zone. So we could do things like move the band in there and the deck chairs, maybe even do something with the concourse in there. But fingers crossed we won't have to do it. It's really good hard standing, really compressed ground anyway, so there's no problem from that perspective.
Yeah, I think it's just nice for people to know that there's no reason to be put off if the weather doesn't look brilliant.
Yeah, very good point,
because it will definitely go ahead and there'll be plenty of stuff to do in the dry, even if the weather's bad. Yeah,
it's a flat zone at the end of the day, so airfield, so we've not got nasty slopes to contend with. I know somebody with a Tenali, and he's going to bring along a tow rope with it too. He might be involved in this recording now, but we'll see. Hopefully we won't need to do that.
Fortunately, I haven't got a tow bar.
Yeah.
I double-checked all the boxes before I ticked them, and I ordered the weather, so we're fine. Don't worry.
Fingers crossed. You're normally good at it, Nick.
Yeah, don't often let us down with the weather. So
I think my other thing I'd say is we arrange all these parking zones, but I picked it up on Facebook as well. Some people that are new to it, they don't realise that in AROC, when you're bringing your Alfa along, you're coming to a show, but your car is the show. We're all there to enjoy seeing the cars lined up, all the different shapes and sizes. Some areas, yes, they will be parked by model because the register's like that. Others will be a little bit more higgledy-piggledy, notably around the classic zone and certainly modern classics. We're not going to have them all, in VIN number order or colour-coded, but there'll be approximate year groups and so on. But the key message there is your car's a show. So enjoy, cleaning it up before you come, lining up neatly, be attentive to the marshals when they're directing you, all our volunteers there, and let's make a brilliant show of it again.
My wife always says, I'm not the most sociable person in the world, and I don't really like going to gatherings of people. And then she's amazed that I go to an Alpha Day and I'm talking to people all day long.
Yeah.
And essentially it's the only kind of event that I ever go to where I absolutely know before I get there that I've got something in common with everybody else who's there.
That's it. That's absolutely it. And I did that. My first show, I was, in the mid-80s as a 21-year-old in my little Alfa Sud. I was absolutely amazed. I had a brilliant time at Stanford Hall. My little red Alfa Sud at the end of a row of Alfa Suds. And you suddenly realise, gosh, I might have been one of the youngest there, like the ragazzi today, but we've all got something in common. We like these completely mad Italian cars. And there's all different shapes and sizes of them. It's just brilliant fun. I still love it just as much today. Not quite 40 years on, but really, really great.
Well, and 30 odd years on, the other thing that always amazes me, I can't remember the last time I went to a National Alfa Day where I didn't see a car where I thought, I don't think I've ever actually seen one of those before. Some, whether it's a minor variation of a model or some pre-war or immediate post-war car that I've just never seen that variant before. Might have seen it in a book, but I've never seen one in the flesh.
Now's your chance. Every year there's something different. I think kind of being in the middle of the country helps for that, as people will travel a good distance to be there.
One thing we like doing is collecting the Blue Pig photographs.
Oh yeah.
I think every National Alfa Day when we've had our picture taken by Blue Pig, we buy the photograph. And well, this year I'm taking 2 cars, but it's quite nice to look back on the photographs. My first picture was taken when I had a black Mito, and now I've moved up to my grey QV, and it's really nice to see the different cars that I take, and also my different hairstyles as well, and my hair colours as well.
But it's nice to see how the family evolves. So my son, who has the Bambini at the moment with his kids in it, I was looking through some pictures the other day, and I found can't remember if it was Blue Pig, but it was the official photographers at the 2003 event at Chatham Dockyard.
Oh, yeah.
There's a picture of me driving in my 1.8 twin spark 156, and you can clearly see my son sitting in the back seat, and he's 8.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing memory of the car and the context and the family and everything all together.
Yeah, I look back at my own pictures from past NADs, just the same with the kids when they were little. But with the pro photographers and Blue Pig this year, it's one of those rare opportunities you get to have a really good photo of you in the car.
Yeah.
So often you take a snap of your pride and joy, but there's never you in it, clearly.
Yeah.
So,
this won't come out in the podcast, but look, that's me in 1972.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Junior Zagato.
On holiday in Italy. Yeah.
Awesome. Is that you? Did you just spot that by the side of the road?
Yeah, I demanded to have my photograph taken next to it, apparently.
Fantastic. Love it. Right, we've got to edit that in somehow. Nick was standing in front of it. Junior Zagato.
No. Yes. For the benefit of people only listening to the podcast, which is everybody.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Very good. Anyway, it should be a cracking day. Really looking forward to it again. I think just building on a few elements from last year, if we can get that weather again, we'll be absolutely laughing, I think.
Yeah. And we should just say members are just £15 a ticket.
Yeah.
All under 16s are free.
Yes. And how are tickets going at the moment? So again, for the benefits of listeners, we recorded this before I went on holiday on the 18th of July to go out on the 6th of August. So these numbers will hopefully have increased dramatically. But in the first couple of weeks, how are we doing?
Tickets sales are up as a percentage of what we expect, I think, on previous years. So it's looking good. So where we'll be when this podcast goes out. But yeah.
You could mention that we did about 500 in the first few days.
Did we?
Yeah. Maybe you're messaging me. Right, maybe we'll edit that out.
You can see how much work they give me to do, Allie, when it comes to editing.
Very deliberate just to wind him up.
Brilliant. So it sounds as though there's going to be lots to do. As you say, hopefully the weather will be kind to us. But so that's about all we've got time for. And just look forward to seeing you all on the 20th at Bicester. Thanks, everyone.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, plenty of time to polish my car yet. So thanks a lot, Guy.
Thank you, Guy. Looking forward to it.
Next episode of the podcast will be in 4 weeks' time on September the 3rd. Episode 84 will be available to download from Podbean, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Podcast Addict, and everywhere else good podcasts are found. Until then, stay safe.